Project Slayers has had 2 major updates so far, and every time, the game can't maintain a high player count for over a month. On release, the game had well over 100,000 players, and not even a month later, the player count dipped all the way down to 15,000 players, and that number would just go down and down, with no updates in months. And just 2 months later, Project Slayers was only reaching 2,000 players a day. This extreme dip in player count is extremely concerning, and it wouldn't be the last time it happens. Around 5 months later, Project Slayers' first major update releases. The game would peak at 50,000 players, half of what it had on its initial release, and like before, just a month later, the game only had 7,000 players. Fast forward another 6 entire months, and the most recent update for Project Slayers drops. This time it's at the end of the school year, prompting a huge spike in players, with the game peaking at just under 90,000 players. This time the game started to die out slowly. Month by month the game would lose around half of its players, until it eventually was right back at where it was previously, hovering the 2,000 player mark with no update in 4 months. So here we are. Will Project Slayers continue its cycle of months without updates just for a spike in players that dies out? Or will Project Slayers finally gain a steady player base? We'll just have to see. With update 2 finally coming out hopefully soon, maybe the game will get that small push to prompt people to continue coming back to play. But that's not what this video's about. This video's about why people keep quitting the game and how to get those people to continue playing. Before we find a solution, we first have to identify the problem, that being people aren't coming back to play the game. Luckily for us, I have a few theories on why people aren't coming back. Everyone knows Roblox core player base is kids. Specifically kids playing on mobile. And unfortunately for us, that isn't Project Slayers' strong suit. Project Slayers has some of the worst mobile support I've ever seen. The buttons are way too small, there is barely any customization, and there is just too much on the screen. So, the easiest solution is to just simplify the game on mobile. For example, look at how Blox Fruit's mobile compatibility is. It's simple and clean, and it's easy enough for toddlers to use. The easiest way to implement this is to just add the same keybinds on the bottom right of the screen like on PC, but make them bigger and easy to press on mobile. Then enlarge everything and remove some of the unneeded buttons. For example, you don't need to see the carry or climb buttons all the time. Just have them pop up when you are near someone or near a wall. If all of this is added, mobile compatibility is much better, meaning more potential players. But this isn't the only platform Project Slayers needs to add into the game. They also need to add Xbox and PlayStation compatibility. Adding support for consoles opens up the game to even more players, and there really is no reason for this not to happen. Project Slayers is by no means an easy game. Key game modes, like mugen trains and dungeons, can be pretty challenging if you aren't a high level, and boss grinding can be pretty frustrating if you aren't strong enough to fight others. But that really isn't the main issue. The main issue is progression. Getting breathing styles is really annoying, and having to do quests every time you want to switch your breathing is stupid. So my solution is to make it so that you can easily equip any breathings you already have gotten before, by just talking to the breathing mentor. Another annoying issue is becoming a demon. It's very hard for new players to find mugen on the map. So the solution is simple. Add a set spawn for mugen, where he has a chance to spawn every night. Then replace the mugen notifier game pass with a title or item, and add the option to buy a guaranteed spawn for mugen. The last issue I'll go over is more NPC quests and bosses. There needs to be more NPC quests to make progression faster, but that'll probably come in update 2. What I want to talk about is bosses and boss spawn times. It would be really cool to see the ability to instantly spawn in bosses, or even mugen trains, for ores. That way, grinding can be much more efficient, and on your own time. PvP is really one of the only things keeping Project Slayers alive right now. It's pretty unique in how there is a high skill ceiling, but not too low of a floor to the point where noobs get completely destroyed, which is why I think the PvP foundation is good, but there still needs to be lots of additions, like better rewards. Right now PvP gives you some pretty awful rewards, and there really is no incentive to grind matches. So I think a ranked system would be really cool. Have ranks that reset monthly and give cool rewards like emotes, items, accessories, and titles. The highest ranked people get something equivalent to champion items, and every time you rank up, you get some nice rewards. This way people have a reason to keep coming back to play the game. But none of this would matter if the PvP meta is always the same. So balance changes every time ranks reset to spice up the meta would be really interesting. The most obvious reason for the continuous decline of the game is the insane breaks in between updates. 4 to 6 months without any updates just won't work when the game only has ever had 2 major content updates. It needs to be updated at least bi-weekly to every month. Even if these updates are small and only add a few titles, items, and balance changes, the game needs something for players to come back to. I'm sure this won't be much of an issue once the game has lots of content, kind of like how Blox Fruits has gone months and months without any update, but still has around 250,000 players daily. But right now, the game needs updates to build a steady player base. Who knows if update 2 will blow up the game again or flop with a very minimal spike in player count and drop very soon after. So right now, the developers can't take chances anymore. The simplest solution to these long update droughts is to just split the major content updates into parts. For example, have the update 2 map, some bosses, and items all release in one update. Then have an update for the entertainment district game mode, breathings, and demon arts. And finally have an update with the rest of the bosses, items, and other small things. This way we aren't thrown into a bunch of content that can get really boring after a few weeks, and instead get eased into the update over a longer period of time, and have more playable content to come back to as time goes on. All of this really boils down to what the developers are going to do. Maybe they have a plan for everything and know they can take months at a time for updates. Or maybe one day the next update doesn't perform well and the game really dies out. We'll just have to see. Update 2 is hopefully going to be coming out soon with more and more sneaks being dropped. So I'm predicting an update hopefully sometime in October. But who knows? Anyway, that's it for the video. This is a bit different from what I normally make, so let me know what you think of this type of content in the comments. Project Slayers is insanely dry right now, and I've basically done every idea I wanted to do in the game. So right now I think I'll continue with this type of content, and probably move on to similar games, until the game updates. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.